I really just like the idea of logic, of just things things that are derived from common sense.
Mr. Jackson. Hello.
That it what every single concept in computer science, however complicated it may be, is it all comes down to simple logic, and and I and I love that. My name is Jackson Rich. Well, I was born with a condition known as Asperger's syndrome, where it essentially makes you very intelligent, but in exchange for for a severe lack of social skills. My diagnosis it has its pros and cons. One great thing about my disorder is that it allows for me to stay concentrated on one thing for hours and hours on end. And that's especially true in the computer science field, where you have a very abstract problem that you need to spend often multiple days to just wrap your head around. My favorite part about computer programming, that would have to be just how, ironically, it's how simple it is. Everything can be figured out with logic. And that's what I love about computer science. I love logic because there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer. There's no in between. And if there's a right answer, then there has to be a way to get to the right answer. And if there's a way to get to it, then I might know it. Because it has 0. But if you were to watch it once or twice, then every time that song is streamed, its position in that list gets updated.
What does it mean to you? What does computer programming mean to you?
It's sort of a way that I can express my condition. It's like a creative outlet that I'm also good at. When I'm programming, I feel like it almost feels like I'm talking to myself, because when I try to talk to other people, the things that they say and the things that they do often make 0 sense to me. And when I'm programming, I can follow the program every step of the way and say, this makes sense, and then this happens, that makes sense based on the previous thing, and this other thing happens, that also makes sense. Whereas if somebody is talking to me and they say a certain word over another word, I don't know why. I just have to accept it, and I don't like that. I want to find out why. Growing up, if you didn't act normal, you were just not a person that people talk to. You were the guy that sat alone at the lunch table, or not even at the lunch table, in like a corner, or and you couldn't talk to anyone. You couldn't really go near anyone. You couldn't ask anyone for help. That was the worst part, because you can't even ask people for help on how to talk to people because they won't talk to you. It's very stressful. That's probably the thing that was probably the strongest feeling that I faced. I was just so stressed every time I had a conversation or like a social interaction. It felt like I was taking like a test. It's like you're taking a test in school, or like an exam, and you have to get a 100% or you fail, essentially. You have to get every little thing right. And people will notice if you get one thing wrong, if you don't make eye contact, or you fidget too much or you say something wrong, people will like look at you weirdly, and then they'll just like run away, or they'll or they won't want to talk to you anymore. And that is how you scare people away. That's how you build a reputation as a weirdo, essentially. The hardest part about my disorder, I think, is just having the motivation to go out there and talk to people.
That's cool, the cryptonics.
Oh, yeah.
And nice colors of the blue. I can tell you use it. That's what I like. I like a board with that kind of stuff on it. That's dope.
Yeah.
Even though it's super stressful and there's there's almost no short-term benefit, you have to do it, because when I get a job or when I go into college or meet people in real life, I have to know how to talk to people, and the only way to do that is with practice.
I can see what you mean. You are using it a lot because the wheels are getting a little bit.
Oh, dude.
They're still moving, but they're sandy.
Oh, yeah. They're. I have to make these like really. I have to get special wheels because I have to make those turns.
Right.
One of my hobbies is skateboarding, but I don't just do any kind of skateboarding. I like to do tricks, but not like ollies or any of the normal tricks. No, I essentially like to skirt the line of it being fun and it being dangerous.
This is so ill-advised.
See that?
I did see that. What do you say?
I would say I don't see it every day, but in fact I do.
And I do that. I'll be honest. I do it too. I'll be honest. I do it as a means to impress people, because I like it when people cheer and clap and they say, "Hey, look at that guy go." It gives me validation. And when I don't have the opportunity to talk to many people, I need that kind of validation. It is dangerous, but I've done it. But I mean, I've done this one trick where there's this sidewalk that leads directly into a road, and there's another sidewalk that comes off of it and goes along the road at a right angle. And I like to ride down and then quickly veer to the side, and I've almost gone in multiple accidents, but I've done that trick hundreds of times, and I've never gotten hurt once. And it's good exercise.
You're working up a pretty good sweat though, too, right?
Yeah.
It's a good workout, eh?
Yeah, it is. I get my exercise.
Nice.
I should, like, every single time that I go sideways and I put my elbow to the ground, if there's even a slight bump, I'm gonna graze the heck out of my elbow. But there never is. There never is. And that's why I love doing it, because somehow I never hurt myself. And people think I'm gonna hurt myself, but they don't, and so they're like, "Wow, he's so cool," and I'm like, "I'm just doing my thing."
If I had to choose one thing that everybody could know about my condition, it's that it's not what people always make it out to be. It's not really a disorder. Not like being an amputee. It's more of just like it's different. At least people with my specific disorder, it's not really a disorder. It's like a pro and a con. And I wish more people would see it like that.
But you're just saying messy rooms have more appeal?
Yeah, I think the messy rooms just have more appeal to me because back at the house, everything had to be absolutely spotless. So it just didn't make it just didn't make it feel like lived in at all. So I just like messy things now.
That's funny.
Yeah.